毎度、Kai senpai desu. How you guys doing? Let me set something up really quick. Remember, we're going to be talking in English today. I hope you're ready to do that. And I've been thinking about everything all day in English, by the way. So I'm ready to do this. So I hope you guys are too. Let me just double check, make sure the live stream is coming in. So you guys are actually watching this and I'm not talking to myself, you know what I mean? But I'm glad that you're here. I think it's Sunday over in Japan, about 11:10 a.m. I hope the weather is nice for you guys. I am in California. California is doing great, by the way. I mean, besides all the driving, the weather, and besides all the politics and stuff like that, the weather in California is doing absolutely great. So things are kind of nice, at least on that aspect. Kind of got to focus on the positive, as they say. But let me just double check, make sure this live stream is kicking into gear and let everybody kind of, oh, look, I can hear my voice. Cool. So cool. We are live. Hey, how you guys doing? And we're going to be doing like a chill version of the live stream today because I have been doing so many things and talking to, basically I've been talking to AI this entire week, and AI is just kind of like, hey man, you need to organize your channel better. And so AI and I started talking about just everything, you know. It's kind of fascinating, to be honest, because I don't have anybody to manage my channel. I hope you guys understand that I am basically the manager, the writer, the editor, for lack of a better word, the star, you know what I mean? But that's just the thing. This channel isn't about me. It's about you. It's about you speaking English, and it's about you speaking English like a normal person. And now we can debate what normal person means, right? But at least we're speaking in English, right? And obviously there's so many different ways to do this, and there's so many ways to speak, and there's so many ways to talk. Of course. But you just got to get like one of those ways down. You know what I mean? And whatever way that you're doing it at the moment may be good. It may not be good. I don't know. This is the problem when we don't have conversations and we start having one-way conversations like this, where I'm just kind of like talking. But the only reason that I have any kind of confidence to do this live stream at all is because I've done many conversations with you over many years, you know, like everything that I've learned about learning how to teach, you know, is based on my experiences as a language learner myself, right? So as I began to teach, you know, one-on-one lessons when I was living in Tokyo, this is really where I developed my whole system of just listening to you guys. I hope you understand that I've spent a lot of time listening. And by listening, I really mean it. Like, if you guys make a mistake, I listen, you know. If you don't make a mistake, I still listen, you know. There's no kind of judgment in it all. It really just comes down to, to be honest, there's been a lot of times where I don't understand what you're saying, though. And it comes in waves. It comes in little spells, right? Depending on the conversation, who I'm talking to, right? But I've heard enough. I've had enough experience that like I'm kind of used to the subtleties, you know. So this is then why I make a video about 10 actresses and the way that they speak, right? And it gets 1.5 million views because you guys are still learning, right? I mean, that's why we're here. 違うか. So I have to keep everything in tune with you and where you're at right now, right? And what better way to do that than to have a conversation, you know? But there is kind of like a weird, I don't know what to say. It's a kind of like a full loop, kind of like a full circle kind of thing, is that in terms of learning a language, there's nothing new to talk about. All right? There's like literally nothing new to talk about. Because all you got to do is the 3 things that I always talk about. And just to remind everybody what those 3 things are, I think it's important because seriously, like it's 2025, when are you going to get it? You got to like focus on, oh, I like this pen. Oh no, it's backwards. Do you see that? Oh, cool. Okay, well, hold on. The technical difficulties department. Let me go over here and fix that really quick. You know, maybe one day I'll have a team to do this, but then again, maybe I won't because like, I don't know. It's not, are you guys like worried that like I'm have to do all this by myself, right? Edit everything. One man team, as they say. There we go. I think that's the right. No, that's not the right direction. Hold on. My gosh. How hard can it be? There we go. Yeah. Gosh, geometry. I was never good at math. That's for sure. There we go. Cool. So I got my cool pin here. So let's get back to it. The first thing that we got to really pay attention to, this is just a refresher for everybody because I know you guys have been watching my videos for like a few years now. We all get it, but like, let's just make sure we really do. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is accent, and basically pick one. I'm offering California. If anybody has a different opinion, that's totally cool. Not going to argue with you because there's no point, because there's so many different ways to talk. I'm just offering, there's a better way to talk than, you know, katakana English, right? And so of all of the different choices, yeah, California English is kind of global. It's kind of cool. Everybody recognizes it. It's not number 1 by any measure. It's not the best. It is what it is, and it is global, and it is understood. So, you know, you might as well choose it unless you have something else, right? So I don't know, like that's up for you guys to decide for your own brains, I guess, for your own life, right? Like just basically choose one accent. That's it. So what's going on here? I got this window open and it says here, Kawasada-san, konnichiwa って。こんちくわ。海先輩です。みたいな。まあ、日本語で挨拶されると、日本語で挨拶した方がいいんじゃない？まあ、それはマナーじゃない。で、まあ、同じように、じゃあ、それをちょっと言っとくわね。ステップ No.3 で、まあ、違う。ステップ No.2 で、そうだよね。So, basically, that gets back into once we pick an accent, we basically go to the next step, which is kind of like what I'm doing right now, but that is talk to 1,000 people. And so if you've talked to 1,000 people before, maybe you've heard all the different kinds of English that are out there, right? I really recommend getting out there to the world, talking to a lot of people, having conversations, listening to stories, sharing stories. But seriously, this is so like important that like if you guys aren't talking to 1,000 people, then I really think that you should, before you go to a school or before you just get a book or something like that, right? And so this is why this little live stream is happening right now, so that you have that chance to have a conversation. But today, like I said, we're doing something light. How do you say? Light version today, because as I do focus on you guys, right? There's like 1 million of you, let's be honest, okay? Like, it's overwhelming for me to have a conversation with 1 million people one-on-one. In fact, I would say it's almost impossible. Now, everything that I understand has because I've talked to you, my students in reality. And if I'm really going to be beneficial to you, then I got to talk to you more. It's kind of simple, right? But it really comes down, and this is where I've been talking to AI. It's like, well, how do I talk to 1 million people? Right? And then how do I talk to 1 million people about the thing that they want to talk about? I will say it's just an interesting side story. I go to a cafe to kind of work on things, and there's always this person who's on the sidewalk who's asking people if they want to save the environment. And that's kind of normal over here. There's nothing wrong with it. But this person is like trying to talk to every person that walks by. And so just think about how many conversations that is in one day, right? 2, it's like 3, because every time somebody walks by, it's like trying to have a conversation, right? And this person basically doesn't have a lot of conversations. It's a lot of getting ignored, or sometimes there's like friction and people get kind of upset, right? So it's kind of like this weird job, to say the least. But still, the person gets out there and tries and talks to as many people as possible. But I'm just like, well, like, yeah, everybody wants to save the environment, but like, I don't want to talk about that right now. I'm like at the cafe trying to have a good day. And then not only that, but I am concerned about the world. And let me tell you about my channel if you want to learn more, right? But that's not the point. Just the point is, at this particular moment, I don't want to talk about the environment. It's a very civil thing to think, right? So it really got me thinking, though, then why talk about anything that you don't want to talk about, So, and I'm like, well, okay, so I would assume that I'm teaching you guys something, right? So, like, then what are we going to talk about? Like, I understand what it's like to want to learn a language, right? When I wanted to learn Japanese, I did everything that I could possibly do every single day to learn Japanese. I was able to do a lot more when I lived in Japan, for sure. But this was before the internet, all right? So, like, I don't want to hear too many excuses for, like, stacking your day full of English experience. And if I can give you guys 23 minutes of English, guess what? It's not enough. 23 minutes is definitely not enough. You're going to have to do 23 minutes times 100 times every day. You know what I mean? Like the math is so staggering. But that time that you spend in your study time, right? It has to be spent in sound, And it's like, so many people miss that fundamental, the physical aspect of language, like the physics of language, the science of language, it's sound. And to really dig deep and get into that, right? Like, we're taking a lot for granted when like, oh, I want to speak English, right? Let me buy a book. Let me go to a school. Like, it's like, no. You got to really fundamentally understand what's happening with what you're learning, right? And the particles, like the essence of language is this sound. And so you really got to get into it. You really got to listen. And that's one of the reasons why I've kind of changed my approach with how I'm doing the videos. And, it's a little trial and error and stuff because, like, obviously I want as many people to hear this as possible. So I got a mic, right? And this mic is good. I don't have to yell too loud just to give you the real sound. And excuse me if you hear me like saying and like smacking my lips and stuff like that. But hey, I'm not a robot, and that's another thing that we got to talk about. Like, talking to AI is totally cool. It's just that, like, you gotta, it's like when and where, right? The proper place, the proper time to talk to a robot. And if talking to a robot is like what you do for pleasure, maybe, well, hey, you do you, right? But as far as what we're talking about, right? If you want to learn a second language, learning from a human is like a no-brainer. Like, duh, like, hello. Like, there's so many things that I take for granted. Like, it's like, you should know this, right? Like, you're not going to learn how to sound natural and normal if you listen to a robot. You know what I mean? Like, robots have an accent. I don't know if you guys know this. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. Maybe this is why I got to say it. But like, if you mimic a robot, you're going to sound like a robot. And like, the humans will know. You know what I mean? Like, have you even talked to like a human before? Now, if you never go talk to humans anyway, then who cares what you do, right? It's all in your imagination. But if you actually want to interact with the rest of humanity, then you're going to have to open your mouth and you're going to have to talk. And all the other humans in the system, the first thing that they're going to do is measure your accent. It's so tribal and it's so subconscious and nobody talks about it, but like, whatever. That's what we do. You hear an accent and like all these filters go off on your head and you instantaneously recognize if this person is from your neighborhood or not. And then, depending on how far you've traveled, you can maybe fill in the gaps. But basically, accent is a primitive kind of like evolutionary tool that I guess developed just out of the balance and how do you say the infinite knowledge that is nature. But like, when there's different groups of humans that all kind of like look the same, accent was the way to distinguish what otherwise look the same. So then you would know, oh, East tribe and the West tribe, you know, across this river, right? Like, I'm on the east side of the river, you're on the west side of the river, right? I mean, 関西関東と同じ、なんだろうね。進化って、まあ進化ですかね。So basically that evolution that every country kind of went through was like the past. And here we are in the future where basically boundaries and borders don't really mean anything because we have the internet. So you can really just like reach out into the vastness of everything and pick an accent and start practicing it, all in the hopes that one day you're going to talk to another human, right? So always kind of like remember, why are you doing this again? Why are you studying English? Like, if you never go out and talk to anybody, you know? And so keep that in mind. If you don't have anybody to talk to, then your next goal is like 100%. You're going to have to basically, well, get out there and talk to somebody. Your goal isn't to learn a language or listen to a tape. Your goal is to get out there and say hi to somebody, you know? So, I don't know. The priority in which you do things like will dictate how much results you get, you know? So if you focus on the right thing, then you're going to get kind of like the right quality of input, right? But if you focus on the wrong thing and you just keep doing whatever, then you're not going to get that kind of satisfaction that you're looking for when you study, because the satisfaction of what you're doing when you study is having the conversation with somebody that you want to talk to. That's how you know you're doing the right thing, right? So until you're doing that, you're basically doing the wrong thing. And so how do you get yourself to actually talk to the person that you really want to talk to? Is, well, okay, yeah, the internet, right? Because you can just go to any fantasy kind of hobby that you have, and you can find somebody that's doing that similar hobby to you, and then you can like start chatting to somebody, right? But you're not actually talking to anybody yet, right? Because you're still chatting, but you can still kind of like communicate, because if you text to somebody, hey, I like your work, you know, you're having a conversation, but you're not really, you know what I mean? Like, the internet is a nice way to kind of filter everybody, but it's not the place to stay. It's like a filter that you go through the filter so that when you meet in reality, you're talking to the people that you really want to talk to. So, all that to say, I'm in California, and it really makes it hard for me to talk directly to you. That is why, in my case, using the internet to talk to you is a smart move. And that's where AI came in and was like, hey, yo, you got like 10,000 people watching your channel a day. And it's like, yeah. So it's like, well, that's a lot. I'm like, yeah, really? Like, I can't imagine how many 10,000, you know? And like 10,000 a day, that's like a football stadium, you know, soccer match in Europe, you know? And that's like daily. So it's like, oh, whoa, whoa, okay. So that's a lot of people kind of like listening to this whole story. Well, where do we go from there, right? And obviously, well, it's to have a conversation with you. You know, why would you click my video if you weren't learning English? And I don't know. And that's where having a conversation actually becomes the thing to do, because by having a conversation, I could just find out, like, hey, why do you watch my channel? What do you think you're going to learn by watching this? Go ahead and please give me an answer, because like, I have no idea why anybody would watch this, but I do know that you are trying to kind of like talk normally, like with a California accent. So you're listening to one of the purest kind of like California born and raised mouthpieces, I guess. It's not like I created California English or anything, because it's just like how we talk, you know, because I just was born and raised here, you know. It's not like I chose it, but the beautiful thing is you can choose it. Right? That's the whole power of consciousness. It's like literally like you can do whatever you want, and there's no reason that you have to talk the way that you do. And there's no reason that you have to talk to the people that you were talking to. You can talk to anybody that you want. You just have to go out there and say hi. So I don't want to like get too philosophical too fast, because all of this is obviously coming in English. And I know doing these kind of like live experiences is hard for a lot of people, because like, カイ先輩の英語が早いじゃんとかわかんないけど、みんな何考えてるかわかんないからさ。でもじゃあ日本語で話してあげようかって感じ。でも日本語で話しちゃうと英語になんないから英語で会話しないとメリットがないから、日本語で話す、英語で日本語で話すメリットないね。勉強になんないからね。So back to English, and it's like, oh, but I like it when you speak Japanese. And it's like, yeah, but that's easy to understand, right? So it's like, cool, so easy. But I swear to God, you kind of got to like, one thing that I always, some of the best kind of like conversations or whatever were the ones that I never really participated in. I was just kind of like listening. You just have to like throw your ear into the middle of a conversation and just listen, you know, and you get like this real kind of like, oh, this is real people talking, you know. And when I lived in Maizuru, there was plenty of times when people were just surrounding me, just having conversations, and all I could do was listen. So trust me, even if we don't have a conversation today, just by you listening, like for 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes, you actually just got like a super high potent dose of like actual California English. So like now you're actually kind of more rad than you were before. I know it's totally awesome, but like a small dose is just like maybe enough for you. And then when you get used to like this like huge dose, like maybe 10 minutes or 20 minutes or 30 minutes, right? You're going to be like totally ripping it up because you'll be like totally used to this level of having an accent, right? So seriously, 3 minutes, just listening for 3 minutes is actually like, for some people, a day's worth of experience, you know, because like, seriously, oh my God, seriously, guys, you got to remember, I don't have any chance to speak Japanese when I'm in California because I don't live in an area that's full of Japanese people. So I don't have just a daily practice routine, right? So I looked on my YouTube, and mostly YouTube, I listen to English stuff, guys. I don't know what you guys listen to. Like I just listen to normal things because I'm not learning English, right? I just listen to normal content. But this Japanese teacher popped up on my feed, and it was like, if you can understand this, you're like level 5 or something. Like I was like, what's level 5? It was like N5 or something. So I listened to it, and she was like, "Watashi no neko wa shindeimasu. Zannen desu kedo." Like it was like really slow, and I was like, what level is this? Like, is this like yochien level? Like, and it was just so slow. And so I was just like, how hard is it to like find somebody talking normally? And then there was this other one that I saw, this Japanese guy was like, I'm going to talk to you in Japanese for 1 hour. And he was talking slow too. And I was just like, man, what's it take to like find somebody that can actually talk to you normally? You know, like everything on the internet has this like, in today's story, we're going to be talking about homelessness in California and why. And there's this like dramatic voice to it. Or sometimes when the universe gets too dark, a hero emerges. And it's just like, what is this? Who talks like that? Like, アニメの声が日本語でも英語でもありますよね. Like I heard one guy trying to mimic like manga or anime Nihongo, and it was just kind of like weird to say the least. Like I can hear his foreign accent when he was doing it, and I was just like, okay, can we just like have a normal conversation? Like everybody's putting on a voice, everybody's like putting on like a show. Can we just be normal? And this is literally what this live stream is all about. Just a normal conversation. Nobody putting on voices, no stories about other people. It's not about me. It's about you just having the opportunity to like literally listen to somebody talk normally. Like that's it. So I'm glad that you're here. Like I really do appreciate you coming into my little workshop right now. Again, this is a light version, okay? Because honestly, I am talking to AI. I never finished this story, but basically, I'm strategizing a better way to talk to you guys. And like for right now, I'm able to talk to you guys. I'm like talking to you guys on the Zoom lesson, right? Out in public. But I'm thinking I'm going to change that to students only. Because I don't know if you guys know, but I have students as well. And I do have courses as well. And it's all about the California accent. It's all about learning how to talk like a Californian, like with 省略パターンとか発音の話ですね. Like I do have like normal stuff, right? But this particular live stream that you're watching right now was designed to reach out to everybody on the internet theoretically, right? Now, I'm very conscious that nobody watches this show because it's like there's no momentum and like all the English and stuff. I know it's a little too deep for a lot of people. So, you know, if I have a day, any typical day, I spend that time trying to build out my next video, my next viral video, if you will, because I know how to do it. I literally know how to make a headline and a thumbnail because I've been learning like how to do YouTube. Like I didn't know how to look. I knew how to speak like a Californian and I knew how to teach it, right? But I didn't know how to like share that information with people who are learning English. And then when I looked on YouTube, people were looking at all these other kinds of videos and I just was like, well, this is a nice lesson, I guess, but we don't need those kind of lessons. Like we don't need like 500 lessons of like how to order coffee at Starbucks. Like there's a more fundamental kind of lesson that we got to learn, I think, in my opinion. And, you know, that's why I say accent, talk to 1,000 people. And then the final little step here is just like, simply put, like I'm doing this as simple as possible, like no overthinking, but just like take notes and make some flashcards. You know, like when you learn something new, when you hear a new phrase, or if you hear something that like, oh, I really do hear like that R sound, or maybe it's like for example, here, and this is why I like drawing, I think, because like for example, we can be like, oh, hey, what? Why is that so light? But whatever, you get the idea. Like you get that nice little sound there. So the flash cards, right? They show up, yeah. So yeah, the flash flash cards. So you maybe you're paying attention to pronunciation, right? And so you're like, oh yeah, I hear that. So you as a student take notes on anything that you're learning, anything that you want to say, anything that you don't understand. You just take notes. You start creating your own textbook, right? And that textbook is based on the things that you experience in life. There's literally no need to buy any textbook if you are able to listen to real people talk, and then you're able to like synthesize the patterns so that you can hear what's going on, right? I will say the only books really, well, there's 3, but like for speaking Japanese, I only got 2 books. One was the basic Japanese, like bunpo, desu, masu, right? Keidoshi, like whatever, that kind of stuff. And then the other one was Kansai Ben no kyokasho. Those are the only 2 things that gave me like the patterns of the language, so that when I went into reality and then I heard those patterns, I was like, now I learned. So the books were good, but they were worthless without the experience, right? So in the same way, yes, having a basic English book is essential, but having like a California accent book is also essential, because like if you don't know, like for example, like if your book is like Well, I mean, the example in the video that I show, what are you going to do tonight? And you're listening to a teacher talk to you in English like that, right? Like, what would you like to learn? What is, like, it's like this weird talk, right? Like, I know you guys know that kind of like talking style. What would you like to order? It's so weird. And so, like, if you're used to that level of English, right, you're going to be in shock when you hear people and how they actually talk, because they don't say each word one at a time. If I start to speak English and I speak one word at a time, I would go crazy. So I will not force myself to do this, because it is literal insanity. Nobody does it. Only teachers do it. And there's a lot of teachers, that's why you're used to it. But if you go into reality, nobody's ever going to talk like that. So like, why would you ever study it, right? Like, why would you ever study something beyond, like, on the basic level? You know what I mean? So it's like you can like have a book for like the first 3 months, but after that, your real teacher is like the 1,000 people, that's your source of information. And not just 1,000 people, but hopefully 1,000 people speaking the same accent. So when I learned Japanese, I was listening to everybody speak Kansai Ben, Maizuru Ben, right? Every single day. And then I would listen to the TV and I'm like, hey, it's different. The way they talk on TV is different. 自分で気がついたよ。恐れ入ります。So the experience of hearing the difference, right, is the point. Like the day you step away from the book, the day you step away from the internet, the day you step away from your teacher and you just get out there and you have a normal conversation with a normal person sitting, talking, standing, jumping on a street, whatever it is, that's the day you actually talk to your first teacher. And then you need more than one teacher. You need multiple teachers, right? So that's why, like, if you really just switch the way that you think, that what you believe, right? That reality is your teacher, and this internet and everything on the internet is just a classroom. Like, if you think like that, and it's fine. You want to stay in the classroom because it's hot outside? Okay. Or get outside and experience some life. So I don't know. And then, because when you live life like the kind of like the optimized way, like the best way to learn, the 1,000 people, let's change that. The 1,000 people become the source of your flashcards, right? And then you rehearse your flashcards and you go back and you talk to 1,000 people. And then you hear something else, and then you make a flashcard. And so you just basically kind of keep looping and looping and looping. And then basically, like in a few weeks, a few months at the most, you'll be like, oh, okay, I get it. Like, I'm able to say what I want to say. I listen to my voice. It sounds like I got an accent now. Like, I have good intonation. Like, there's not a lot to learn. So seriously, guys, if you want to learn more about how to become bilingual, right, then I seriously watch my little video. I think I made a post of it right there in the chat there. But yeah, check that video out because it explains everything, and then, you go through a course and then you come back here to reality like me, talking to a human like me. And then we can talk about like, well, what do we got to learn? What do we got to focus on? Because like from where you're at, it's like, okay, there's some basic pronunciation that you should maybe review. Maybe you haven't really talked about like your specialty too much, because like one of the fastest ways to get better is to talk about your hobby, to talk about something you're already interested in. So there's so many different ways you could do that. Like if you like Star Wars, talk about Star Wars. If you like rock music, talk about rock music. If you like electronic music, talk about that. Like if you like TikTok, talk about TikTok. It's really simple, to be honest. So just focus on that. Find people that want to talk to you about the things that you want to talk to about, and then you just rehearse what you talk about. Kind of like, I don't know, like, oh, you do TikTok? Like, I don't know. It's weird when you actually see it happen, because like there's so many different types of content creators, right? And I'm always like the weird one. I'm like, yeah, I'm like big in Japan or something, and people but anyway, yeah, like you see like the dancers, you'll see like the travel type of influencers. Those are the funniest ones. You see them in Japan, right? But anyway, I mean, they're living the dream life, right? But there's always this kind of like weird distance that the travelers have, because they don't like speak Japanese, right? So anyway, all of this interesting kind of like interplay between everything either is going to be done through like fluent conversation, or it's going to be like through katakoto. 違うか. Learning English should be fun. It should. I mean, but that's what basically it's like, well, do you think going to school is fun? So it's like, why would you go to school? And that's why it's so hard for me to establish like a school, because like I don't want to start a school in the sense that I don't want to sit in a school. I want to be outside. So maybe if it was like a hiking school or something like that, or a cabin school or a tent school, or anything like outside in reality would be much better than sitting around in a classroom. That's for sure. But KKK, the good thing you have 4Ks there, just to be honest. How different is American English from British? Different enough. Like, how different? Like, it's all, it's like an analogy, like, it's like, cause you have like Tokyo English and then Kansai English, and it's like kind of different. 何言ってんの俺。Tokyo English じゃなくて、東京ジャパニーズで、まあ関西弁もあるしね。で、I'm trying to speak English, sorry. So basically the difference between Tokyo Japanese and Kansai Japanese is like kind of different, but it's different, right? But you understand it. But if you take Tokyo Japanese versus like Okinawa Japanese, it's like ちょっと全然違う, right? So British and American English kind of feel like Tokyo and Kansai, kind of, sort of, right? Kind of, sort of, you know what I mean? And then like something like Scottish English or, Scottish English, for example, though, that would be like Okinawa English, like way out there. So, and that's just a general thing. It's pretty different. But the thing is, I will never speak British English unless I'm trying to embarrass myself, which is quite easy because, I could do it if I try, but it is not going to be good and it's going to get worse over time if I'm honest. So I don't do it. I just don't practice it, and I don't try to practice it because it would be a waste of time and nobody would, it's like a real British person would hear my British accent and they would be like, you scoundrel, you bloody scoundrel. That's what they would say. You trying to pass off as one of us, eh? You taking the piss out of me. That's what they would say to me. And maybe you guys would like, oh, イギリス英語できるじゃん、Koi senpai. It's like, yeah. Not really. So, I will never speak British English. So, it's different enough that it's like, I will never do it. Unless it's a joke. So, yeah. So, if you ever hear me speaking British English, wink, wink. そういう撮影しようかな。なんか、カイ先輩がなんか日本のストリートでなんかイギリス英語で Excuse me, would you have a conversation with me? And then see if like they understand that it's like a fake accent. That'd be interesting, right? じゃあ、また質問ありますか? Vocabulary is different a lot. Yeah, the vocabulary is one thing, for sure. But see, most of the words are the same, right? But like every, I don't know, 30 seconds or maybe every minute, there's like a weird word, right? Like a lift, to hire a car, a bunch of little differences, right? But those happen like every 30 seconds or a minute, right? But the accent, that's happening with every second. You know what I mean? And it's the intonation and the accent. That's happening all the time. So that's more of the focus. You know what I mean? The words are like every once in a while because they're mostly the same. So yeah, that's why I say focusing on the accent's a little more dense because it's everything that you say. You know what I mean? It's not just the difference in words, but it's the same words that are said differently. And so I can't get into all the differences. To be honest, it's too hard. So yeah. Like tube, subway, lift, and my tube, subway, pavement, sidewalk. Yeah, exactly. Sidewalk. Right? Because there's so many different ways, right? And that's just like, and that's why it's insanity because like, even if you say sideway right there, like I say sidewalk, but apparently depending on where you are in America, they say that differently too. So like, it really is like Masayuki, what's up? Hey, how do you do? So that's why I'm saying that like, it's best just to pick one accent because there's no way you're going to remember like all the different ways to speak English, you know, like there's like a Southern accent with like American English and they use different words too. And so it's just like, it becomes too much and there's no point in learning those words if nobody uses them around me. And, you know, like I've said, I'm in California. So like everybody talks kind of like this more or less. I mean, obviously there's different ways to talk in California too, but more or less, you know, everybody has this kind of like California accent. And so it's like, okay, if you want to be some sort of like a magician kind of person and like be able to do all these like impressions of different people, then maybe you want to practice all the different accents. But if you want to be a normal person, just focus on one accent. いや、俺のカリフォルニア英語はかっこいいと思うんですけれども、それはちょっと関係ないよね。まあ、人気って言っても、カリフォルニア・イングリッシュは一番世界、なんていうかな、世界中って感じ。just like worldwide. That's all I'm trying to say. So, and the only reason that is the case is because of Hollywood. Radio, TV, movies. So anyway, it's like totally a good accent to learn, and that's why I recommend it. And that's why, you know, if you check out my 3-step video, that's what I really talk about. Like just kind of like focusing on the California accent. Now, if you guys don't want to learn the California accent, totally get it. You go somewhere else and I'm not going to cry. But if you want to learn the California accent, then that's where you go. So, Ahu-san says, British people say door, like door. Yeah, well, there's a door. Yeah, door. Well, it's not door. Well, see, that's what I say. Door って感じ? Door, or, Samoa, door? まあ、door って感じ。まあ、俺は知らないよね。俺、イギリス英語喋れないからね。なんか聞いたことあるからね。ドアの発音ね。でも、なんか、まあ、ドア、それとも、ドって感じですね。Get the door. 聞こえた？ Yeah, get the door. だから、めんどくさいよ。こういうすべての違いをね。まあ、聞いて面白いよね。でも、自分からこうやってイギリス英語を話すのが、なんだろうね。自分じゃないよって感じ。俺だってそういう発音しないよ。でも面白いよね。ちょっと真似してみて、なんだろうね。ちょっとお笑いって感じがするんやけどね。Did you get the door? でも、なんだろうね。そのイギリス英語より、そのオーストラリア英語の方が、なんかちょっと面白い。なんか、なんだろうね。シリアスじゃないみたいな喋り方。みんな落ち着いてるみんなね。なんか、なんだろう。ストレスがないって喋り方だよね。それで、すごく元気なね、喋り方あるよね。オーストラリア英語って。それでも俺の喋り方じゃないよね。でもすごいなんかお笑いって感じですね。で、なんかまあオーストラリア人のお笑いの、アジア人がいるよね。で、彼女の英語がまあ 100% オーストラリア英語で、なんか面白い。ね。うん。ね。面白いね。訛りって。まあだから自分の訛り自分で選んでって感じ。でもまあオーストラリアでもブリティッシュでもね、どっちでもいいんやけど、俺はね、俺はね、アメリカ英語しかわからないよ。違うか。なんかそういうアメリカ人の英語聞いたことあるんだけどね。僕はアメリカから来ました。友達を作りたい。新宿の西口はどちらでしょうかみたいな喋り方。あれやろ。違うか。そう、ノリさんが言ってるよね。Yeah, no. So that's kind of like one of the big differences in our culture. And that stems from like 200 years ago, is 300 years ago, is that America kind of got rid of that kind of like social class kind of thing. Kind of. You know what I mean? East Coast English is a little more different, but it has evolved since then. But America was kind of founded by the Puritans who kind of got rid of the kind of social class, right? So there's a fundamental difference in the way we perceive accent. But in England, yes, the aristocracy and whatnot literally use their accent to distinguish themselves from everybody else, the posh accent. And so there is a different dynamic that most Americans don't realize that's what's happening if they hear a British accent like that. Otherwise, the British accents are all kind of have their regional variations, right? But if somebody's for sure using the Queen's English, they are definitely doing that on purpose, if you know what I mean. And it's more complex probably than I even understand, so I don't want to get too much into it, but it is totally different. Like an American English is basically just the different regions, you know, so East Coast, West Coast, the Southern, and then California has differences depending on ethnic groups, and so it's super complex. That's why I totally recommend just learning one. And that's the other crazy thing too. Like a lot of what I'm saying feels obvious, you know, but I don't know who I'm talking to a lot of times. And so it's like if somebody is asking me a question, it's like, well, everybody knows that, right? But then again, here we are. Like, I don't know what you guys are thinking unless you ask, right? And then it's like, oh, okay, so that's what you guys think. Cool, great. And let me address it. Because, like, again, all of this is obvious to me. Like, how do you learn a second language? You know, accent, practice, talk to 1,000 people, make flashcards. You're done. Just go do it, you know? But then it's like, well, I don't know how to go talk to people. Well, that's a whole other conversation, isn't it? Right? Because we're not talking about English now. We're talking about how to talk to people. And so, like, how to approach people, how to have a conversation in public with people. And that's a different story. I do talk about it in my video. だから俺の3ステップ学習法ね、そこになんか人にアプローチする方法とかさ、それも教えるよ、カイ先輩はね。そうだよね。やっぱり英語だけじゃないよね。なんか英語を教えると、まあ英語のレッスンになるんだけど、どうやって外国人に声をかけるかって感じ。まあナンパって言ってもいいんだけど、まあどうやってアプローチするか、どうやって挨拶するかっていうね、会話したいときはね、まあどうやってスモールトークするかとかさ、そういう話も面白いと思うんだけど、そのレッスンは、どうぞ、リンククリックしてくださいね。それはまあ個人で、教えるからね。Because like it's 長い話になっちゃうから。違うか。だってもう1時間超えて英語で喋ってるんですけれども、なんだろうね、次のね、like, まあ、what do we do next, right? Well, get out there, talk to somebody. Well, how do I go talk to somebody? Well, that's going to be another lesson, you know what I mean? とりあえず、もう、外に出て誰かと話すっていうね。でも、それでもまた準備が必要ですかみたいな。じゃあまあこちらのレッスンご覧くださいって感じですね。だってまあ俺も一応習ったよ。どうやってスモールトークするか、どうやってまあナンパっていうか知らない人にどうやって声をかけるかっていうなんか方法があるよ。挨拶ね。ちゃんとやればもう会話になるよ。なんか知らない人と、ね、どこでもアメリカでも日本でもね。ね方法ある。ちゃんとやれば君でもね順番にちゃんとね挨拶アクセントねちょっとお世辞も入れてはいどうぞ英語でね then you can talk to anybody that you want. It's so simple and it's like it kind of involves a lot of hold on I'm going to explain it but like you kind of have to like choose your clothing and you have to kind of like choose what kind of like hobby that you want to represent, right? And so it's a quick little trick, but like so many people do it with the baseball hat and stuff like that. Anyway, that's going to be a separate subject. Go ahead and check out the video if you want to. Because I talk about it a little bit, but then like if you want the full lesson, then you go over to my website and get my little course there. And then I have like a whole section on how to like attract English speaking people into your life. And it's just like this whole routine that you're going to develop for your life so that when you literally every single day, you get ready to have a conversation with somebody, right? So you go to the place that you're going to have a chance to talk to somebody. You wear the clothes that like you're going to connect with, right? Like if you like baseball, then you wear a baseball cap or something like that. And then you just kind of wait and be patient and you present yourself at the right time when it happens. It's easy when it happens. And it's effortless. There's no stress. Like, you don't have to talk to everybody on the planet. You just have to talk to the people that you want to have a conversation with. So it's just this like efficient way to like get out there and meet people daily, instantly. And if you just did the system like every day, in the next week, you're at least going to talk to one person, if not two, if three, right? Like, but that possibility alone should be high enough that it motivates you to actually do the things that you should do to get out there and actually have the conversation with somebody that really like is in your world. You know, there's so many people in your neighborhood that speak English, and unless you really do live in the countryside, which I do understand the world is way bigger than California. And in fact, when I was in Korea, I really realized that, wow, there's not a lot of Americans around here. Of course, there's like 1, 2, or 3, but like, you know, like you might not have an opportunity to speak English depending on where you live on the planet. I get it. We're on the internet. So, but if you could get out there into a big city like Tokyo, Osaka, Kyoto, doesn't matter, and just kind of set up your little kind of like routine, you can make it a part of your life that like, oh, when you see somebody wearing the similar hat, you go out there, you say hi, and then like you just basically go for it. Like there are more details to this. So seriously, it's totally worth it because once you learn it, it just basically becomes subconscious and you do it every single day without even thinking. And then all of a sudden you're having all these conversations with people that you don't know and then you're learning so much. 違うか。India English ね。Do I see it or do I hear it? Because I've heard it before, of course, and it is hard to understand. Yes, it is hard. I am better at it, and it depends on who I'm listening to. But in general, it is, for me, it's hard, right? And it just depends on like other Americans. Like, 母国語しかできないアメリカ人は多分なんか難しい。なんか嫌だっていうね。だって電話のカスタマーサポートみたいなね、携帯会社に電話する時とかさ、そういう人たちの英語が聞きづらいよっていう文句があるよね。だから、yeah, it's totally a whole different subject right there, India English, right? So, I recommend いただきます using a laptop, huh? Yeah, oh, language exchange partner. Yeah, that's an option for sure. And that's where it's like things depending like on like schedule, location, right? Like let's say you're a busy person, you go to work every day. Yeah, your schedule, you just don't have time. Using an app like that is probably, but to me, honestly, I would say it's a temporary solution, if that makes any sense. Nori-san? Because it's kind of like a stopgap. Because like at the end of the day, Aitoki? But yeah, そっか。なんか、いただきますに見える。But yeah, it's like a stopgap. It basically is something you do in the meantime, but your ultimate goal is always to talk to a human. And this is why I say, like, recently I've been talking to AI, and it's not to like, なんか英会話みたいに AI と話してますみたいなね。そういうんじゃなくて、AI が俺のチャンネルの確率とかそういうね、そういうところを見てくれてんのね。なんかそういう話してんのね。英会話じゃなくて。So, that's why it's like for me, AI is like totally cool. But like, to like learn a language, AI と話すのって感じ？それはちょっとどうだろうね。でも、language exchange app, like, that's like okay because like, as long as you're talking to a human, you know? Like, as long as you're talking to a human on the phone, on the video chat, or in person, that's okay. I still, even though we're like using a computer right now, I would still recommend meeting at a cafe, meeting in reality, you know, to have any kind of conversation, even if it's just like a lesson, you know? So that's why, like, I want to get to Japan sooner than later. These are things that I'm like discussing with the AI too, because like one of the things that I've always wanted to do was kind of set up my studio. And so I do have my studio set up in California, but if I do go to Japan, I will be making videos, you know, so I'm going to have like a studio. It's like this weird kind of like, hey, I'm kind of famous on YouTube, right? But I'm not like famous. So, and then two, I don't have a visa. And that's just like one of the biggest tiring subjects, because as an independent YouTuber, I'm doing everything by myself. And to get a visa in Japan, typically you got to get a job. So I'm not going to be getting a job. Not when I already have one. So it's just this like, all right, well, I can only spend 3 months in Japan because I don't have a visa. What am I going to do? Am I going to go to Tokyo, which is like way super expensive because of like over tourism and the key money and all that? You guys got to remember that key money 敷金、礼金とかさ、that is like some of the most ridiculous bullshit that I've ever heard of. But like, hey, what are you going to do, right? Well, don't live in Tokyo. That's one thing. Yeah. So Airbnb in Tokyo is just getting stupid. Like, what? Like, 昭和時代の60年代の what? みたいな、あんな、みたいな、like, nobody lives there, and they make it Airbnb, and now it's all expensive. It just doesn't make sense. But anyway, それか、田舎の方に、ね、なんだろうね、普通のところに住んで、まあそこから、情報、放送しますねみたいな、なんだろうね、なんかチャンネルっていうか、なんか NHK の、なんだろう、田舎から放送します、海先輩ですみたいな、そういうちょっと妄想もありますね。でも田舎の方に行ったらどこにするかちょっとわかんないよね。どう田舎の四国とか、なんか九州とか北海道、それがちょっとなんだろう、東京から1時間2時間ぐらい離れてる、田舎、それか京都の田舎、どっちかって感じですね。なんかそれ難しいですね。本当にどうだろう。で、田舎の方がまあちょっとなんだろうね、ちょっと楽しいかもしれない。かもしれないね。でももう舞鶴に住んだことあるから、もう田舎の経験ってまあもう分かってるからね。でもなんだろうね、まあ分かんないね。本当に分かんない。何がいい。でももうカリフォルニアがいいんだけどね。でももう言うから君から離れてるからね。Like it always sounds so weird to say that in Japanese, so I'm just going to say that one in English. Like because of the time zone difference, like it's hard to line up the conversation with you guys because seriously, doing the live stream now is like the worst time to do it because most people watch my channel at night, but at night, your guys' night is like my 3 a.m. and I'm not gonna stay up till 3 a.m. to talk to you guys. I'm sorry. I'm just sorry. I'm going to bed, you know. もう遅いしね. I feel like taking a shower, ready to go to bed here. So anyway, say, where do you live right now? I live in California. I live in Orange County. And so yeah, it's a weird feeling to be in California because like obviously, well, no, I don't know if you guys know. I've been traveling the world for the last 2 or 3 years, two or three, I guess. But anyway, yeah, I'm back, and being in California is like comfortable because I have like my studio, and then I get to see like my buddies more often than when I was traveling. So there's something about, nice about being here, but the drama, yeah, 結構前の話だよね。OCT ドラマって。なんか最近のドラマがあるかな。なんか Orange County based みたいな。ないよね。There's a TV show on Apple called The Studio, and they shoot that in Hollywood. And I used to live in Hollywood, so it was interesting because like they show you Hollywood, like the real Hollywood, and there's kind of fake Hollywood too, like movie sets and stuff like that. But anyway, so yeah, that's super interesting. But yeah, I don't think there's any real TV dramas about Orange County these days. Ooh, yeah, and I don't think there should be, maybe, unless it's a real. Oh, you know what? I saw an anime. Here, I'll share it with you. Pantheon or something like that. It's like Pantheon. でもこれ、Netflix の、アニメですね。で、なんか、オレンジカウンティ設定ありますよ。でも、アニメだから、なんか、なんだろう、美しすぎるって感じ。でも、その街、it's like San Clemente っていう街、本当にそういう景色なの。It's like そのままって感じ。So it was really weird to see kind of like California anime style, if that makes any sense. Because it really does look like that. It's amazing. Anyway, yeah. So all this to say that this was a light edition today, guys. Today was not serious. As you can see from my notes, this is just like some sort of like little exercise just to say hi to you guys, because honestly, the conversation that I'm having with AI is more intense and serious, if that makes any sense. And so it's like there's a lot of things going on. And I want to come back next week or the next week with a full live stream where I invite you guys to have a conversation with me live. But that's going to be next week or next week. And then that could be students only, 後輩だけ, or I'll keep it open to the public. I don't know. But basically, I want to start rewarding my students a little more. So, as students get my course, that you can get the course that's digital only, or you can get like one-on-one lesson or a group lesson, right? And so basically, it's like if you're on the digital lesson, if you have any questions, you always have like email access to me. But like I kind of want to like give this like open kind of forum where if you have any questions at all about whatever you're going through, you can like talk to me here. And so like I kind of want to keep it more for my students, because I have, thousands of students, but I do like this, that I can keep it open with everybody who wants to talk, right? So Sacramento is the capital city of California. That is correct. Way up in the north from here. And I've only been there one time because it's not really a main city that I think is a main city, even though it is the capital. It's kind of like in the middle of the valley, and it's kind of like far away from like San Francisco and the Bay Area. It was a nice city. It was cool. I had a good time. We went to a riverboat, but yeah, so far away. So you said your Japanese was rusty before. 恐れ入ります。What I think, you just get good at sounding good, I guess. And in order to sound good, a lot of times you can say less, if that makes any sense. So, yeah, it's definitely rusty. I know it is. But it would be better to like actually just have a conversation in Japanese than. But again, I'm trying to speak in English. なんだろうね。日本語にジャンプするのが問題ない。なんだろうね。そのギャップがね。いきなり日本語でも全然大丈夫ですね。でも、日本語から英語に、で、英語から日本語にみたいなコードスイッチングが疲れるからしないようにしてんのね。でもまた日本語で喋ってんのっていう、ちょっとなんだろう、ぐるぐるって感じですね。だからまあ俺の日本語錆びてるか錆びてないかって、まあそれは関係あるか関係ないか、まあ自分で言えないんだけど、これ英語のレッスンっていうかさ、経験だよね。だから英語で話した方がいいんちゃうかって感じ。I know. It's just like literally like a never ending thing. But hopefully just listening to a little of my Japanese, like I can feel like I'm not used to talking about stuff daily, you know? So like rusty, like I know the feeling. I know like when I lived in Tokyo, there was no rust. I was every single day I was 100% like on all day. Like for example, when I was living with my girlfriend in Tokyo, I didn't use English that much directly with her. I was like literally speaking Japanese like all day. So totally not a problem. It's just like, just you got to use it, you know? So, and I'm not worried about it though. And that's the thing. Like I can wait to go to Japan to speak Japanese, you know? But like if you're like, oh, when am I going to learn English? When am I going to get English? When am I going to go to a foreign country? When am I going to experience this, right? Well, yeah, that's why it's like, this isn't about me. You know what I mean? And even if like people like, well, your Japanese sucks or your Japanese is good, it's like, well, そんなの関係ないやろ. Nah, this is about you. And this is about you guys speaking, talking, you know, using your voice. And this is why I say this is a light episode, but this is why I don't like chat too much either, is because, you know, chat, even though we are kind of like talking, we're not really talking. But, you know, what other way are we going to do this? Because at this point, like I said, if I'm getting 10,000 people every single day watching my channel, well, I have to develop systems now that can handle 10,000 people. Does that make sense? Like literally, if 10,000 people were to literally like learn with me, get my course, take my lesson, right? They would totally learn how to speak like a Californian. And that's like 10,000 people, right? But the thing is, there's like 1 million of you guys learning English. So it might as well be 1 million, because why not? Right? Like who else teaches California English like with this like 省略パターンとかさ、so 英語から振り仮名, like it's a pretty unique system, right? So 10,000 people, 1,000 people, like 1 million, what's the difference? 英語まだできない後輩いっぱいいるから。今でも。So I have to develop these systems to like have a conversation with like 10,000 people a day. And how do I balance that talking directly to you versus talking to 10,000 people? Now, if you want to talk directly to me, that's where you go and you watch my video and learn with me. And then you can go to my website and then I'll tell you what to do from there. But if you're listening closely and you're like, well, you know what? I don't need Kai Senpai. I can just go talk to 1,000 people. It's like, well, there you go. Congratulations. You figured it out. Because you don't need a teacher. You need 1,000 teachers. You don't need a classroom. You need reality. You don't need a textbook. You need flashcards. You have everything, and you need an ear. You know what I mean? Like literally listen to people, have a conversation, smile, laugh, share your story. That's what it's all about. And the sooner you can do that, the sooner you're off the internet. And ultimately, I think that's why it's really hard to do all this, because YouTube loves it when you stay on YouTube. But my ultimate kind of message here is, hey, you got to get off YouTube. You got to get out in reality and you got to talk to people. Like that's the truth. So my goal goes against what this platform is looking for. This platform wants you to stay on this platform. My platform is the earth. And so, what are we going to do? Well, honestly, we're going to finish this YouTube thing now. I'm going to go into reality, going to go into earth. nighttime, so not much is happening. Don't get too excited. But for you guys, you have a whole day ahead of you, and it's like springtime. Hopefully it's not raining. But all I can say is I hope you get out there. I hope you have a cool conversation with somebody. I hope you have a fun conversation with somebody, like somebody that shares your hobbies and interests. And then I hope you enjoy it. I hope you have a good time. And I hope you don't think too much about it. But if you do have any problems, if you do have any questions, if you do have any kind of like, hey, I have this question about this word I heard the other day, make a flashcard, make a note, send me an email, talk to me about it. But like for the most part, let your lessons come from real people. And if you ever need more help, well, that's why, you just ask like a senpai. Like to be honest, like anytime I had like a question, like about Japanese, like I'd be at the cafe and I would be like, すみません、ちょっと日本語がわかんない外国人なんですけれども、YouTuber なんですけれども、なんかヘッドラインのなんか雰囲気がちょっとなんかなんだろうなと思ったんだけど、ちょっとやり直してくれませんか？ダメか。いや、ほとんどの人が優しいから、ちょっとあれ、わーとかがーとかさ、そういうほんまにそれぐらいの何が正しいかっていうね、わかんない。But otherwise, you learn from other people, learn from real people. And if you do have questions, it's okay. Just ask. You got to really get like used to asking humans, not like AI, because AI is just synthesizing what humans said. But anyway, whole different long story. So anyway, I'm off, guys. Thank you so much. And then Ao-san, then Nori-san, thanks for like the nice little chat about the little English and American English and British English. But I don't want to get too down another rabbit hole, but honestly, I don't think, and this is just me, this is my opinion, so don't I mean, share it if you want, but basically nobody speaks English anymore. We write English, we read English, but nobody speaks English. Basically everybody speaks their own dialect, and so specifically I speak like Californian. But if you talk to somebody from Texas, they speak Texas. Like that's kind of like the new mindset that I want to create. Because if you say English, well, what does that mean? Because there's British, and even British has like the Queen's English, and then like the Southern English, and like Wales and Scotland, right? So it just doesn't mean anything, right? American doesn't mean anything. British doesn't mean anything. But if you said, this guy speaks California English, and this guy speaks Scottish English, that makes sense. That means something. You know what I mean? So, or like this guy speaks California English and this guy speaks Texas English. It's like, okay, that makes sense. Or this guy speaks California English and this guy speaks the Queen's English. That makes sense. But if you say American English versus British English, it doesn't make sense because nobody speaks American. Does that make sense? And nobody speaks British. They might speak posh, they might speak the received pronunciation, RP, but they don't speak British. So basically nobody speaks English, nobody speaks American, nobody speaks British. It's like all kind of like local. So, oh yeah, he speaks Californian, or he speaks New York, or he speaks Liverpool. Like that's more accurate. So if you can use those words, it's better for me because I actually would understand that. But if you say British or American, it's just too broad. It's too big. It's like, it's just nobody really has just one way of talking, right? So, that's kind of like the whole point of the channel. So these are the good questions to have, but like seriously, just as like a takeaway from it, when you hear my English, yes, it's American, but you should be able to tell that it's a California accent. You should be able to tell. Like, if they, if like some AI was like, you have like a Texas accent, I would be like, you're like stupid, because this would not be considered a Texas accent or a New York accent or a Chicago accent. You know what I mean? So, like, yeah, like when you think of Kai Senpai, don't think American English, all right? And I only use the word American English just because that's what a lot of you guys kind of know. But the truth is, we all have the regional accent. So yeah, Kai Senpai speaks California English, all right? So if you're ever thinking about like, oh, Kai Senpai and like other YouTubers, for example, and, oh yeah, he's got an American accent and this and that. It's like, well, no, Kai Senpai, he's got a California accent. 細かいかもわからんけど、いや、大きいですよ、その違い。区別してくださいって感じですね。だって英語の勉強してるでしょ？じゃあ、訛りの区別をね、してください。So that was a sign that we got to go. I've lost my, the point. The point of the story, I've lost it. So yeah, but that's a good sign to get this thing wrapped up. So, but yeah, Queen's English really exists. Nori-san, it's like a real thing. I'm pretty sure. But if you listen to ハリさんの英語、検索したら出てくると思うんだけど、ハリの英語を評価してね、I'm pretty sure he speaks with like the Queen's English, like it's a posh accent. I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong. So, but yeah, check it out. People still use it. And I saw a YouTuber once and he was saying he speaks with the Queen's English, the posh accent, and he knows he does, but that was his background, so he's not going to change it kind of thing. And it is what it is. But he was saying that he knows what it means and he knows the kind of attitude that, because it's basically like a rich kid accent, basically. So, but he's like, yeah, it is what it is. So it's like, okay, whatever. If you want to talk like that, that's just the signals you're putting out there. So please don't finish this stream. Really, Aozan. That's part of why I don't want to do the stream at this time, because to be honest, I have no problem talking with you or anybody for like 3 hours, 4 hours, right? It's kind of what I do. The problem I have is doing it online because, like, fundamentally speaking, I don't want to live my life in front of a computer. And the more that I'm talking to AI, the more I realize what my goal is. And my goal is, 1, to make the videos, 2, to make the live streams, but all of it is to talk to you so that, you have a better life. And, you can watch the video because, like, I remember I made a video with these two fans, for lack of a better word, because they recognized me somewhere in Kyoto, and so like, hey, let's make a video. And so we went out, and I put it in the video, the link I just shared there, because it was really cool, because like we just did this game, but I was like, hey, you got to go out and you got to talk to somebody. You gotta go to one of these foreigners and you gotta say hi or talk to him. He's like, oh, I'm so scared. I'm like, just do it. And when he did it, he was so excited. That him and his friend, after we finished video, like shooting the video, I went home because it was late, but they ran into some other foreigners, started talking to them, and then went to karaoke with them, kept having fun. And that's kind of the point, is that like, I'm glad to help, but the goal is to get you off the internet and into reality. And I don't know, go sing karaoke with somebody, go take a walk with somebody, have a beer by the river. You know what I mean? Get out there, have a conversation, and enjoy some life, meet some people from around the world, get some perspective, like I talked to this one dude from Spain when I was in Kyoto, just by talking to him at the cafe. And he was so excited to talk to me because I only spoke a little Spanish. He didn't speak any Japanese. Anyway, all of these memories I have in my head, they're my experiences, and I regret nothing because like that's what the whole point of living life is to have these conversations, right? So me finding my balance within doing live streams and getting off the computer is kind of important because I don't want to spend 3 hours, 4 hours in front of a computer screen. These are my goals, right? So, I have to have some sort of boundary with my time, basically. Because, and that's like the other thing too. Like, I really do know how to make a viral video. Average view duration, average percentage viewed, and click-through rate are the kind of 3 numbers that you have to think about. But once I discovered that, I started making longer videos, and longer videos take more time. But I was willing to do it because, well, hey, 1.5 million people have seen like that recent actress video, right? Hopefully, that's a million people that like learn something, right? But even if it was like 10,000 people, that's a lot of people that now have a new vantage point so that when they go out into the world and talk to people, they have this just better vantage point just because they saw one of my videos, hopefully, right? Because there's been so many times that I've been like talking to my friend. I'm like, oh, this reminds me of a video, right? Because, we see things online and we get inspired or we get curious, right? But if you're not having conversations in reality, in English, then we got to get off the computer. We got to meet in reality, and we got to create systems so that like we can have conversations every single day in reality, right? And so the big irony is that like if you're really serious about like learning English, then you got to get out of Japan. And that's a long conversation that I don't know exactly how you're going to answer that. I don't know how you're going to get out of Japan. I don't know how you're going to afford it. I don't know where you're going to live. I don't know what you're going to study. Because the learning English part, you're not going to learn it at a school anyway. The school is just the excuse to get the visa. It's an excuse and it's paperwork. The actual learning is not going to take place inside the classroom. So when you go abroad, you're like, oh, I'm going to learn English. I'm going to speak English, right? And I got to get a visa. So I got to go to school and I'm going to learn in the school. It's like, no. You're just going to school to get a visa. That's it. And you have to go to classes because they make you, so you do it, but that's still not where you're going to learn. You know what I mean? Like you're going to learn outside of classroom when you get a friend, when you go to the mall, like do normal things. That's where you're going to learn. So the whole going abroad thing, that's such a different subject that like it's pretty complicated. And you're like, well, what do you do, right? まあ逆に考えるとね、俺、日本語喋れるようになりたいと思って舞鶴に留学しました。でもお金貯めていったんですよね。バイトして、スーパーでバイトして朝4時からね、本当にもう辛かったけど、なんだろうね、俺の目標決まってたからね。What's your guys' goal? 英語で喋りたいって、それか海外行きたい。で、海外行くから英語を勉強しないといけない。I don't know.That's your guys' like, what do you call it? Problem, I guess, So it's like, if you can't go abroad, well then, okay, とりあえず海外行けないから、じゃあネットで勉強しましょうって感じですね。でもネットで勉強するって何か読むか何か書くかって会話だよね。じゃあネット使って会話 しましょう。だから今ライブストリームやってるんですけどもね。それでも、それはとりあえずって感じですね。海外行けないからネットで勉強しましょうって感じですね。でも結局、本当に、何を経験したいかって感じですね。で、やっぱ海外行きたい。旅行でも留学でも住んでみたいっていう目標があれば、じゃあ英語じゃないよね。 英語関係ないよね、結局。ただそのツールって感じですね。その世界旅の経験するため英語を勉強する。だから本当に目標は何ですかって感じですね。はい。そう。だからまあなんだろうね。地元なんていうお金特にないからね。だからその高校の時どうしても日本に行きたくて、なんていうパパからね、まあ自分で払えばもう行ってもいいよって、じゃあバイトしますってでも40時間みたいなフォールタイムでバイトしてたんだよね。まあ。The things you do, you know, like, and then that's kind of like why ever since then, I promised myself I'm never gonna wake up early again. Like, oh, I'm not a morning person. So anyway, like I said, the live stream is definitely something that I want to be doing, like on a regular basis. So for the meantime, thank you so much for showing up to this one. It was really nice to have you guys. And this is the point that I do want to be having a conversation with you. Today was just light, you know. I did not email my thousands of students today just because like I'm on light mode, but I think next week I'm going to email everybody. So there might be more people next week. We'll find out. We'll see. But then I'll share that Zoom link with everybody. And then we'll see, you know, because if it gets too many people, then I'm going to have to start putting in kind of like some friction so that like we can balance everything out. But, you know, giving the time to hear your story is basically what this is all coming to. And today was just like a nice little reminder to let everybody know it's been a nice week. I hope you guys have had a nice week. I hope that you're practicing. I hope that you kind of like getting into the flow of like speaking and sharing what you know. But next week is going to be a little bit better, as always, because every day is always going to get a little bit better if you know what your goal is, right? And so if my goal is to like, I don't know, make a video, I'm going to make the video, right? But then my next goal is to everything is all about kind of like getting your attention so that like you like listen so that you basically learn something. And that thing that I want you to learn is that all you got to do is like mimic native speakers. That's it. Like literally, I just gave you the secret to everything. And so depending on who you're listening to, all you got to do is listen and mimic. And so if you are talking to a British person, then all you got to do is listen and mimic them, right? Like if I know I'm getting so far ahead of what I'm thinking in my head and it's just coming out like in this one kind of like flow, but like if you get what I'm saying, all you got to do is mimic. Then all you got to do is mimic. And so what are you going to mimic? Well, you're going to mimic whatever you hear. If you're listening to what I'm saying, then you're going to mimic that. But if you're talking to somebody else, then you're going to mimic that. So it's important who you listen to. I guess then in the meantime, as I'm going to finish this live stream, and you're like, man, but I still want to listen to English. Well, then you should probably find like a list of people that you want to listen to, but I would do it based on kind of accent and like how you want to sound. There's like this actor, his name is like Owen Wilson, but he's got like a really unique way of talking, and it's kind of funny. Find like an actor or like a YouTuber, but like try to like mimic their speaking style and have fun, because it's fun. Like literally when you kind of like try to mimic somebody else's speaking style, and that's what it's all about. It's like at first it doesn't feel normal because like, でも僕はカリフォルニア人じゃないからさ、僕は日本人だからカタカナ英語でもええんちゃうか? And it's like, well, okay, if you want, it's your choice, but like if you wanted to talk normal, this is how you do it, right? So anyway, you're free to choose any style you like. Just, you know, pick one or two or three in that one kind of accent. So if you're listening to me, then I say, hey, find some other California people to like listen to. And I swear to God, if you listen to like any of the celebrity interviews, like, and this is a thing, you know, maybe I'll make more videos about it, but a lot of people in Hollywood have the California accent. So basically listen to anybody in Hollywood and you're going to hear this kind of accent. And so like, it's going to all be like in one kind of like vein, you know, of style that you can practice, right? So less is more, as they say, you know what I mean? Focus on one and everything else will just like take care of itself. So focus on one accent, mimic one accent. That's it. You're done. Game over. Like, party on. So yeah. So go, if you still need, if you can't go to California today, then, and you're going to stay on the internet, then find some other actor, actress, Hollywood star, YouTuber, it doesn't matter, and listen to them for a while, okay? But if you can get out in reality, do it, do it, do it. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And Ao-san, Nori-san, today's champions of the day. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. See you next week. Probably be doing it the same time next week. So like, 11 a.m. or something like that. And then, yeah, have a good week. Have some fun. And if anybody like wants to learn more from Kai Senpai, I have plenty more. I don't know if you guys know, but I do have like a course and stuff, and I do group lessons. I do private lessons. It's like literally a thing. I don't know how many people know this, but just watch that cool video right there. And it's cool because like I've been paying attention to like what people pay attention to, and like you'll see in the video, but like, who the hell are you is kind of like a good little attitude. Like, why are you telling me how to learn a language? なんかネイティブみたいに喋れるようになるって、なんで君がそうやって言うの？なんか何様って感じ? And so I kind of like, well, here's like the proof is in the pudding kind of thing, right? And like, I've helped a lot of people kind of learn these things that they did not know. 省略パターンって何ですか? Well, when are you going to get it? You know, like, you haven't heard that before? Let me teach you. So, 歌え歌え Wow. Anyway, that was hard. Thank you very much. 歌え、だって歌わないといけないんじゃない? 歌え。難しい. Okay, thank you, Ao-san. Thank you so much again. Today's champion. Go out and take that energy and apply it to the next thing that you do, because you're gonna do well. You're gonna be successful. You're gonna be totally awesome, and it's gonna be totally rad. You're gonna have an awesome day if you take like this kind of like California energy. Maybe I could do that, like the California like culture kind of like way of living kind of thing, just as like a fun kind of thing, because I think there is like a difference between like cultures and stuff. Like California culture is way different than like New York culture and Texas culture and stuff. So anyway, but that's a subject for another time. Guys, thank you so much. Take it easy. Have a good one. And I will talk to you guys very soon. Bye bye. じゃあね。さようなら. Peace. Wait, I'll switch to, yeah. And then we switch to the bye bye cloud there. All right, guys, take it easy. Have a good one. Thanks for tuning in. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye bye.